Hey, this is not a familiar setting, as you may notice. It's something completely different to ridemedia HQ. I'm at Clarence Street Cyclery, one of the biggest bike shops in Australia. It's a Trek dealer, and I've got Peter over there. He's going to talk to me about putting on tubeless tyres onto Bontrager's new Aeolus wheels. I've got some 62mm rims on some beautiful light wheels, and we're going to put it all together. We've done the tubeless installation in the past on the Zipp 303s, which I'm going to rip off my bike. And we've got some Bontrager tyres. I've asked for as fat as they can give me. I don't know if I ended up with 32mm like I've been riding for the last 6 months. But we'll see where we end up, and I'll give you my impressions once I've got them on my Focus Alco Max. That's basically it. I got the wheels a week ago. Unfortunately they arrived with tubes, and I said no, let's not do that. It's 2021. It's the modern world. Let's make sure that we're running the technology that exists and the technology that's been spruiked for what makes these wheels so good, and that is tubeless. In other words, we're going to drop the PSI, going to get a bit comfortable, going to get a bit of grip, and we're going to sort of negate the hassle that comes with punctures, thanks to the sealant that Pete's going to apply during the install. And that's me off the camera, and now I'm going to go and introduce you to Peter, and he'll do the rest of the talking, the rest of the explaining, and I'll do the riding tomorrow. Alright, so I'm introducing Peter for a second time.
Hello.
Peter's going to pop some Bontrager tubeless tyres on the Bontrager Aeolus wheels. One difference between these and the Zipps and the ENVEs, and that is that it comes with a rim that has enormous holes in it and then a plastic strip.
Yes. Yeah.
So talk to me about that.
The idea is to be able to perfectly fit that strip onto the rim, so there'll be no gaps at all. And Bontrager makes several different sizes for several different wheels as well, but they all of them just sit inside that wheel, and it's perfect. And you'll never get a hole with the rim strip with those things. It's one of the best tubeless fit outs I've seen with rim strips like that.
Has the uptake of tubeless come to Clarence Street Cyclery or not?
Yes, yeah, it's slowly getting there. It's taken a few years for it to happen. Mountain bikes, pretty well every single mountain bike in the world is running tubeless, but road bikes now with the bigger tyres, people are going to 30, 32C, even 35C on road bikes. It's definitely becoming a much more popular thing to do. Just chuck that guy in there, and then it perfectly centres the room tape around the valve hole, and it should be all sweet. Feels a bit tight, but it's not. It's supposed to give you that sort of little bit of a clicking there, and then you just run your finger around it, make sure it just perfectly sits in the rest of the ring, like a little snapping sort of noise, and then you know from there it's perfect.
And does that perish?
No, not really. I've over periods of years they turn a little bit of a different colour, but I've never seen one become destroyed in any sense.
Okay.
The worst I've ever seen has been a couple of years and it turns a little bit yellow. That's generally just because of the tubeless sealant in there. Pretty easy putting a valve in. All that you've got to do is just put the valve, have the flat faces pointing towards the size of the rim, and you can just screw this little guy on there. It does have to be quite firm, otherwise the air will seal out of it. They're the R3 tyres. They're pretty well the best tyre in terms of lightweight puncture resistance and all that Bontrager make. They still roll really fast as well. Got plenty of grip on there as well. Sidewalls are still they're a good level of thickness where they're not going to split open just from any bit of glass or anything on the road, but it's still quite a nice and supple sort of tyre. I haven't had too many people with issues with these things. Good thing about these Bontrager tyres, makes it very easy. There's a white bit there and a white bit there, so I know exactly to put that over the rim, and it'll be perfect, and also the direction of the tyre as well. So there's a couple of different ways to do tubeless. Some people like to pull the sealant in beforehand. All the Bontrager valve stems, you can take the valve stem out, so you're able to put the tyre on it and then squeeze in the sealant after that. I just find it's a much cleaner way to do that than a lot of other ways people do it. They turn it in there, pour it in, but then sometimes you get tubeless sealant everywhere.
You've done 1,000 Bontrager rims. Is this feeling tighter than usual?
Not too much tighter. every tubeless rim's tight, no matter what brand you go for. They're always really tight. It also is a bit dependent on the the brand's rim and stuff like that. Sometimes you've just got to try to work in a little bit of slack into the tyre, push the bead of the tyre right into the centre of the rim. That generally gives you a little bit more play. Goes bang on like that. So no, that's not too hard at all. There's a little line around the whole tyre, and yeah, just inside here. And as soon as you can see all that, that just means it's seated on properly. Usually I'll leave it for a few minutes to just make sure it gets the last little bits of seating in there. Like I can kind of see a little bit here that it's not quite all the way out. So I'll leave it for a couple of minutes as I do the other wheel. And then hopefully it should just pull itself out. Sometimes you can just force it with your hand a little bit. It should be alright, so I'll just hop on to the next one. These are the first time I've seen these wheels. I've heard that they're coming along. To me, they're very nice. They feel quite a very solid rim. They're nice and wide, which is becoming part of the standard of rims as well. But it doesn't have any sort of flimsy sort of carbon fairing or anything like in there, like I've seen on a lot of other wheels. Just have to shake it for a couple of minutes. It all settles down at the bottom of the
How much?
Generally I just put the whole bottle in. Probably road bike you don't necessarily need to, but when you have wide tyres it doesn't hurt to have too much. It's always just going to be rolling around inside the middle of the tyre anyway, so it's not like there's anything that can really go wrong. Just bring that back on until it's nice and firm. Then we go back over there and pump it up. There we go.
Right.
This one here. Last sort of shake to make sure we hear that noise around. And once we put it on the bike and it starts revolving around, the sealant will have a nice light layer pretty much the whole way around, and the little goo will be ready to hopefully you're faster too now. Pretty good, very happy. They went on much easier than I'll generally expect for a lot of road tubeless stuff. Usually tubeless is pretty hard to get on, but they went on like a dream really. Very, very happy.